stand together, we'll never fall. We can make a difference.
Well, hi there, and welcome back to another episode of the All Around Growth Podcast. My name is Rob Kaiser, and I am your host. Today is Friday, October 14th, 2022, and this is episode number 43 of a show where we co-create life together, a show where you join me with my family on our small farm and homestead as we grow all around, where we talk about the 5 W's and how here on the homestead at York Meadow Farm. And we also talk about things like, well, the moon meets Mars, growing hops at home, pumpkin health benefits, and more. And we do that on episodes from, like today, from the Daily Almanac, where we cover all sorts of articles that are sent out each day. And there are links where you can learn who was born on this day, what happened today in history, little facts that there's, 68 days until winter begins, little reminders like that, little fun questions of the day, puzzles of the day, and little poems that read as follows. The mug of cider simmered slow, the apples sputtered in a row, and close at hand the basket stood, with nuts from Brown's October's wood. That's by John Greenleaf Whittier, an American poet who lived from 1807 from 1892. And I think I misread that last line, from Brown October's wood instead of Brown's October's wood. There's an interesting photo in here. I'll actually post this as the photo to the episode because I think very few people would catch this, but it's a leaf and a nut. Now, it is a leaf of a sugar maple, but it is a nut of a horse chestnut or a buckeye, an Aesculus species, if you will, one that appears visibly to kind of like a chestnut, but it's definitely toxic. So this is a weird photo that only the horticultural dorks would catch and appreciate. Anyways, so what articles do we have in the Daily Almanac today? And first of all, why a Daily Almanac episode today? Well, a couple things. First and foremost, it's going to be a busy day. Got a neighbor coming over or someone that works for the neighbor. I don't know if they're going to buy some sauerkraut or if they just want to stop by, but they called me last night at kind of an inopportune time. And I guess we're going to set up a booth over there. I don't know. I want to get to know them, want to get to support them. Don't expect it to be a big sales opportunity, but it might be fun if only I had a costume. And because I guess we're going to be handing out candy to kids and maybe selling some stuff. So, hey, I'll make a few bucks. It'll be like a nice way to spend a Saturday around Halloween, I think. I don't know. She texted me. I have no idea what's going on. I just agree to stuff. And oftentimes regret it later. But I suspect this will not be the case because this is the neighbor who moved into the old neighbor across the street, Craig, who introduced me to my mechanic and a number of other people. And I ran into them down at the Friendly Inn a few months ago. We exchanged information. We've been exchanging a lot online, and it's funny because they're right there, and they have this little, they've turned that property into an animal sanctuary. They've moved from their old property over here. They're actually a pretty, established, I don't know what you call it, corporation, or, it's not quite a farm, but it's an animal sanctuary, and It's Whispering Acres. I'll link to them in the show notes so you guys can see what's going on. But yeah, they're hosting another event while I'm, speaking about them. Like some kind of event where you need to buy tickets, and it's a fall event. And I think it's this weekend. I'm a terrible promoter. But they have pierogies, and I just admittedly lost track of like everything that's going on besides the markets, because for the past few weeks we've been running 3 different markets, and that's kind of a lot because I'm not accustomed to doing any markets other than just the one on Saturdays. So to do one on Saturday and one on Sunday and one on Tuesday has been a little much. So yeah, I've kind of lost track of what's going on. But yeah, I'll link to Whispering Acres in the show notes so you can see what and where will be towards the end of the month, just for a special event. And I'm looking forward to that, to get to know the neighbors and get to know the community and just be involved. And but anyways, there you have it, the articles in the Daily Almanac. So lots going on. Peopling today, and the other day my computer shut down. Like, I don't know if it restarted or whatever, but I thought that I had saved some documents, like all the Excel spreadsheets that I had open, all my Word documents that I had open, one of which is a running list of episodes and like the show notes and things like that, and just quick things for reference. So so I lost like 2 days of work, and I'm a little confused as to why. But anyways, that's a lesson learned. Time to be more diligent with hitting that save button and making sure my files are actually located in the right spots. Now, that's why we're doing the Old Farmer's Almanac, and without further ado, let's take a look at the articles and dive into one. We've got articles on hops today. If you're looking to brew your own beer, one key flavoring ingredient is hops, which you can grow in your own backyard. So here's an article on how to plant, grow, and harvest hops at home. This may not be for everyone, but, here in Northeast Ohio, the debatable USDA hardiness zone, I guess let's just say 6A, whatever, 5B. Yeah, try it. If your soil sucks, try it in a container, whatever, have some fun, grow some hops. I don't know, read this article, learn more. I've never done it, don't really have any interest in doing it. I think it's really cool to be around them and to see them and to handle them, but I've never grown them. Anyways, there's another article on drying your own herbs for tea. Grab the bounty of fresh herbs while you can, and let's dry those leaves for tea. It's simple. See both how to dry your herbs and also how to make a good cup of herbal tea. All right, so if you're interested in tea and drying your own herbs for tea and what the Old Farmer's Almanac has to say about that, I'll link to this along with that article on hops. There's also an article on the night sky for October 2022. And on October 14th, which is today, look up before bed. The moon and red Mars will pair up in the night sky. And in this article are Bob Berman's latest tips for viewing the bright planets this month. So I will link to this article on the night sky for October 2022 in the show notes as well. We've got an article on the many health benefits of pumpkin and winter squash. Time to turn pumpkins and sweet orange-fleshed hubbards, buttercups, butternuts, and acorns for comfort. Winter squash is a nutritional powerhouse packed with vitamins and minerals. Let's get your pumpkin on with these impressive health benefits. All right. I think we're going to read that article because Cody has left me some goodies in the basket, including a couple of butternut squash, some melons, some radishes, some other greens. And I'm looking forward to whipping something up like that today for lunch, which reminds me I need to take more lard out of the freezer. So yeah, we'll read that in just a second. And then there's also an article on mulled apple cider. Now, during apple season, enjoy a cup of mulled apple cider. Mulled simply means that the cider is heated with spices. It's similar to steeping tea, plus it fills the house with a delicious fragrance. All right, mulled apple cider is cool, but we're going to read this article on the many health benefits of pumpkin and winter squash. And this is definitely a more casual episode. I'm actually going to refill my coffee while we talk and while I pull this article up. So we'll go ahead and talk about the many health benefits of pumpkin and winter squash. And because this picture looks really nice, I think I will actually use this picture in the show notes, this episode today. This is a nice photo. All right, well, there's a lot to love about these fall favorites, and this is an article that I'm going to read. It's an article written by Margaret Boyles, written on October 16th, 2020. So shout out Margaret Boyles. Thank you for writing for the Old Farmer's Almanac, and or however this is structured. Anyways, time to turn these pumpkins and sweet orange fleshed hubbards, buttercups, butternuts, and acorns. Time to turn 2 pumpkins and sweet orange flesh hubbards, buttercups, butternuts, and acorns for comfort. Winter squash is a nutritional powerhouse packed with vitamins and minerals. Let's get your pumpkin on with these impressive health benefits. What is winter squash? Native to the New World, all varieties of squash and pumpkins belong to the genus Cucurbita within the large plant family Cucurbitaceae. Summer squashes are varieties of squash bred to be eaten as tender, immature fruits, as distinguished from, quote, winter squash, whose orange or yellow-fleshed fruits are allowed to mature fully. Pumpkins are a type of winter squash, though we treat them a little differently given their popularity. Many of the hard-rinded hubbards, butternuts, buttercup, and kabocha types. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Kabocha? I don't know. They'll keep 6 months or more from injury, or if free from injury, properly cured and stored in a cool, dry space, like 50 to 55 degrees. All right? Now, every kind of winter squash is versatile. You want to try baked, steamed, pureed into a creamy soup, or added in chunks to a stew, casserole, or winter salad. You can bake it into pies and muffins, and even add pureed squash to smoothies. And don't throw out the skins and seeds. All parts of the winter squash and pumpkin fruit are edible, except for the stem. And there's even an additional link on skin and seed, how to eat an entire pumpkin. And that's an article from Sustainable America. I'll go ahead and link to that in the show notes, just so we can all understand the whole use of pumpkins. All right, now back to the article. Pumpkin and squash health benefits. For centuries, winter squash and pumpkin seeds have been valued not only for their protein content and healthy blend of oils, but also for their medicinal value. Winter squash is a top source of vitamin A due to its carotenoid richness. Carotenoid richness. Lots of big words in here for, Caveman Rob reading today. Just one cup supplies 59% of your daily vitamin A requirement. It's also a very good source of vitamin C, fiber, several of the B complex vitamins, potassium, and many other minerals. Again, we're talking about winter squash here. Indeed, winter squash contains high amounts of several carotenoids, a class of more than 600 plant pigments manufactured by plants for their own protection that give many fruits and vegetables their orange or yellow tinge. While some carotenoids convert to vitamin A in the body, others may play a role in cancer prevention, blood sugar control, and immune function. Although most of their calories come from carbohydrates, winter squash contain a special class of carbohydrates with a link to an article from a white paper from Taylor and Francis, the Taylor and Francis group, on the antioxidative activity of water-soluble polysaccharide in pumpkin fruits. All right, so you can read more about this special class of carbohydrates that have an anti-inflammatory and antioxidant as well as cholesterol and insulin regulating properties in the show notes. All right, antioxidative activity of water-soluble polysaccharides in pumpkin fruits. You want to nerd out? All right, I'm your Huckleberry. Check out the show notes for more. And there's more about winter squash's health benefits in the show notes from an article on, I don't know, WH Foods, whatever this is. It's a pretty comprehensive article about broad-based nutrient support from winter squash. So I'll link to all sorts of stuff in the show notes about winter squash's health benefits, all right? Back to the article. Pumpkins for beauty. Pumpkin is packed full of vitamins, including vitamin A, C, and E. It will reduce damage caused by free radicals, fight acne, and hydrate your skin. Got dry skin, especially with indoor heat and cold weather? Try this face mask. All you need is 1 pumpkin wedge and 1 tablespoon olive oil. Chop up the pumpkin into 10 cubes and boil in water for 10 minutes. Drain, mash, and let cool. Combine 2 tablespoons of mashed pumpkin with the olive oil and mix well. Now, to apply this, you gently apply this to your face and neck and relax for 15 to 20 minutes. Rinse off with warm water, then apply your moisturizer. Well, I'm glad that this didn't suggest that we place ourselves into the oven and, get baked because, well, I prefer the alternative methodologies. But, yeah, if you want to utilize pumpkins as a face mask, this is the recipe for you. All right. And if you wish, you can also add other ingredients such as honey, nutmeg, and or cinnamon to your mashed pumpkin because nutmeg is an anti-inflammatory and helps reduce pore size. Cinnamon is an antiseptic that cleanses your pores. Honey is an antifungal and calms your skin. Honey can also help make the mask a little stickier. All right, guys, so if you want to get beautiful and cleanse up, try this. Or, if you don't want to go through all this hassle with your pumpkins and just maybe want to eat them, but you're interested in healthy stuff for your skin, you can also check out the show notes for links to York Meadow Farm, where we sell bath and body products in addition to our fermented foods. And just maybe try the hand cream, because the hand cream makes a great skin cream, and quite frankly, I use it just as much as my beard balm for that specific purpose because it works quite well. And why not? So I think I'm actually gonna quick side note, experiment with that recipe, experiment with the essential oils that are used in it, and maybe make something a little bit more masculine, and develop a beard balm or a beard care line of products. Who knows? Anyways, back to the article. Choosing pumpkin and winter squash. Now, when buying winter squash, and speaking of buying winter squash, get out there and support your local farmers markets. Guys, poke around, try to find who's got the nicest squash, and buy them, and buy a lot, because you can keep them for a while. All right, so when buying winter squash, choose one that's heavy for its size, has a hard rind, and is free from soft spots. Don't worry about warts and brown ridges. Now, note that there are decorative carving pumpkins and cooking pumpkins. The most common cooking pumpkin, which you'll find in the grocery store, is called a pie pumpkin or a sugar pumpkin. It's a round, smaller, sweeter pumpkin that it's a round, smaller, sweeter pumpkins that this sentence doesn't make sense. Either type is edible, but sugar pumpkins are more meaty and less stringy and more suited to recipes. All right, so here's another article. I'm going to have articles galore linked in the show notes. This one is titled How to Cook a Pumpkin. This one's also from the Old Farmer's Almanac. And we'll see. If I can't link to everything in the show notes, I'll link selectively. And, I'll just link to the Daily Almanac, link to the articles that were in there. One's about moon meeting Mars and growing hops and all that stuff. But I will definitely link to the many health benefits of pumpkins, link to whatever I can. But so far, we're into 4 additional articles linked within the primary article. So lots of information in here. And I'm kind of glad that we are taking a deep dive into this one today, because there's more about winter squash. I know more about winter squash now than I did 15 minutes ago. So, all right, good for us. Back to the article. Now, if you have grown or come into a lot of extra pumpkins or hard-shelled winter squashes this fall, your best storage option is leaving them whole until you're ready to use one. Set them so they don't touch each other on wooden pallets or a few thicknesses of newspapers in a cool, dry location. Cool being 50 to 55 degrees. All right, now the best way to eat winter squash. There's a couple different ways in here. One is baking squash. And the author's favorite way of eating the buttercup type squashes that they grow are wash, halve, remove the seeds, and cut the squash into wedges. Brush oil or butter onto the skin side and add a bit of maple syrup and half an inch of water into the baking dish and bake at 350 until a knife pierces the skin easily. Then just eat it, skin and all. Then you can also roast your pumpkins, and roasted pumpkin is fantastic. It delivers that creaminess in the middle with a crispy outside. So you're going to heat your oven to 400 degrees, place a 1-inch thick you're going to place your 1-inch thick slices of pumpkin on the baking sheet. Rub olive oil on both sides of the pumpkin, season with salt, spices, and brown sugar, or whatever you want to do, and then roast those suckers for 18 to 20 minutes. Cooked pumpkin also freezes well. You can bake, steam, or boil them. Just drain it well, mash it, or leave it as cubes, and then freeze it for later. Now, here we go. All right. Recent research shows that it isn't safe to can mashed or pureed pumpkins or pumpkin butter, even in a pressure canner. If you insist on canning your pumpkins, can them as cubes and follow instructions, which there is a link to in the article. And the link is to an article from the National Center for Home Food Preservation on home preserving pumpkins. And I know many of you out there listening are canners and have experience with this. So let us know in the comments on social media and in the Telegram group what your experience is with canning mashed or pureed pumpkins or pumpkin butter or anything like that, and what your experience is with that versus canning your pumpkins or winter squashes as cubes. All right, so look forward to some dialogue with you about that. And finally, back to the article and concluding the article. When it comes to pumpkins, don't just think about sweet treats, but remember, pumpkin is great for savory recipes too. Think pumpkin pasta, pumpkin burgers, pumpkin quiche, and pumpkin hummus. And there's another articles galore for both sweet and savory pumpkin recipes here. And it looks like this article embedded within the article, Many Health Benefits of Pumpkins and Winter Squash, has 15 favorite pumpkin recipes, both sweet and savory, the best pumpkin recipes from the Old Farmer's Almanac. And guys, this looks great. I think I'm going to reference this when I dive into the winter squash from Cody and ultimately everything else that comes from Cody. He also left me a little baby pumpkin out front, so that'll be a fun thing to do as well. So yeah, guys, go orange this autumn. It's so very good for you. And that's it for the article. And again, this article, to give full credit where credit is due, is an article by Margaret Boyles from the Old Farmer's Almanac. Margaret Boyles is a longtime contributor to the Old Farmer's Almanac. She wrote for UNH, Cooperative Extension managed NH Outside, a writing collaborative for Extension Natural Resources volunteers, and contributes to various media covering environmental and human health issues. In her spare time, she tends a large vegetable garden, splits firewood, runs, bikes, walks, swims, lifts weights, snowshoes, and reads voraciously. I don't know if all these articles down here are hers, but anyways, guys, that's who Margaret Boyles is. And that's what we have for today in this episode of the All Around Growth Podcast. What's in store for next week? Well, there's going to be some changes in store. Nothing major. The show will continue. As my old coworker used to say, Gary, the sun will still rise in the east tomorrow. Or those of you that think otherwise, the orb in the sky, and what they want us to believe. Yes, let's address that topic another day. But the change that I'm talking about is with regard to the markets. Okay. The Tremont market is over, and this Saturday is the last market on the Medina Square. And then we've got Richardson's on Sunday, but by this time next week, my demeanor is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be feeling a little bit different. So it'll be interesting to see where we're at next week. I have no idea what we will be talking about in terms of content. But as always, I welcome feedback from you guys. If there's anything in specific that you would like me to cover or provide some insight on, a lot of the ways in which I do this is take a topic, do a little bit of research, share that with you and the information that I've found, and do so after talking about it a little bit. So those episodes, those kind of feedback type episodes, are generally fun. And I have an update on a pending interview with Cody. And right now, like I said, it is Friday, October 14th. The last market of the Medina Square is this Saturday. The last market of the Farmers Market of Medina County, which Cody participates in, is also this Saturday. We've got the Richardson's Market on Sunday, and he and Elaine and, their family, I mean, Luna and Summer's just a teeny one still, so she's not really going to be helping that much, but Luna most certainly will. She'll be helping a little bit, but they are hosting the harvest dinner now that they're, just barely moved in, hardly settled in. I'm kind of surprised that they're, taking it on and hosting it. But this is what you do when you want to connect with people. You go outside your comfort zone. You host events, and that's what they're doing. They've always done this in the past, for as long as I can remember. They probably started it right around the time that I moved back, or just a couple of years prior, when they first started attending farmers markets themselves. They host a harvest dinner and they invite all the vendors over for a potluck, and it is generally a very nice time. Cody oftentimes grills up some meat, like just in a very primal way, but he always does it in a way that results in something delicious. And we both laugh about this. It was probably the first or second one I attended many years ago, and he'd cooked up this goat, and I just kept picking off the skin, the little like bark of this, and just eating it, remarking about how delicious it was, and he just thought it was the greatest thing, the funniest thing, that I appreciated these little bits that no one else seemed to want, and moreover that I appreciated them so much. And he recalled that, or he mentioned that to me the other day, and I just thought that was kind of fun, that of all the things to remember, he remembers something like that. So speaking of Cody, what we're going to do is we are going to do this interview, but probably not for another week or two. We're going to do the final market this weekend. We're going to do the harvest dinner. We're going to, and then we're going to basically unwind for a week, and probably the following week, most likely the last week of October, we will do that interview together. And hopefully it goes well. It should be an interesting experience. Because I've really, at the end of the day, it's going to be a conversation between the two of us, but I am going to try to have some good questions to make it an interesting interview. So, we'll see how that goes. I don't know. And again, I've already put it out there in the Telegram group, t.me/allaroundgrowth. If you've got questions for Cody and you would like to, to ask him those questions through me, I am the vessel, the channel here, the conduit, then you can share them in the Telegram chat, t.me/allaroundgrowth, or just send them to me at allaroundgrowth@gmail.com, and I will be happy to include those in the interview. But for today, guys, that is about it. I will link to all or as many of the articles as possible on pumpkins and winter squash that I can in the show notes today, but definitely check out the article on the many health benefits of pumpkin and winter squash, where you will find all of them inside. And I definitely look forward to catching up with you on Monday. I hope you have a great weekend. This is Rob Kaiser, and thank you.
People turn away, and I wonder why. If I can help somebody, then I want to try. People may think that it's odd that I believe in friendship and love, and truth is always the best way to the world that may seem odd. I'm an odd fellow. I'm an odd fellow. Whoa, whoa. I'm an odd fellow. If we stand together, we'll never fall. We can make a difference and answer the call. You know the times are wasting every day, and we can help somebody along the way. People may think that it's odd that I believe in friendship and love. Truth is always the best way to the world that may seem odd. I'm an odd fellow. You're an odd